Beal. See? You see that? Did you see I got it?
Got it.
We are interviewing with artist LaShun Beal. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's you're smiling. You're smiling.
Well, so I'm 58 years old this year, and I've been painting, practicing art since elementary school. I got
okay.
And my teachers took notice and pulled me to the side, put me into a room, and had me doing still lives and oil paintings. So I was exposed at an early age, and the fascinating thing for me when it came to art, other than creating it, was the ability to market it, to be able to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And that piqued my interest in junior high school. But it wasn't until I got into high school. No, I was in junior high school when I got my my first commission project.
Okay.
And from the library teacher, she wanted some paintings done of some dinosaurs. She had saw I'd been working on some, and she supported me.
And junior high. This was in junior high.
Junior high school, correct. Okay. Yeah, and so from that point on, from that first commission, I was hooked. I knew that I wanted to do this, and there was no roadmap of how to become a professional artist when I was coming up. So I would do anything and everything I possibly could to get my work exposed. I mean, I would go through some teachers. I would go through the parents of the students that I was in school with. I would travel my community, and I would search for any venue that I thought was suitable for displaying my art and selling it. I mean, everything from laundromats to record stores to any place.
Oh, wow.
And one thing that I recall from that time also is that looking around and seeing how art was being projected to the community, furniture stores would have these large canvases, 30 by 40 or 36 by 48, that they would sell to the public. And these canvases, they had multiples of them, like it seemed like hundreds. At that time, I didn't know or understand reproduction. So I can't necessarily say they were all originals, and they probably were at that particular time because the kind of printing that we have now didn't exist then. So I wanted to figure out how could I get involved with all that. How can I get to that level where I have my work in that same kind of vein? How can I get into the furniture stores and or be able to just get my work in a broader audience?
And this is all like in your early formative years. Like
formative is just, I'm still in junior high school at this time. So when I get to high school, I'm still pursuing, I'm still homing in my craft, is learning my skills. And my high school teacher, remember all through schools from elementary all the way up to high school, I got a lot of special attention from my instructors. So in high school, my high school teacher became probably the biggest influence for me. And to this very day, we stay in contact with one another. And this is, over between 5+ years after I got out of high school. So he turned me on to a lot of different things. He opened my eyes to more the graphic side of the business, because that's where he was involved in. They did illustrations and did components for various. They had their own little electronic company. So
Okay.
he would do designs and stuff for the things that they were making. And back then, they were working on the the electronic key for automobiles. And this is way before they ever came out. They were actually doing the prototypes for that.
Oh,
So,
really?
you know, he exposed me to all that. Then he would take me around to the universities, and this is by the time I was, you know, junior high or in high school, I believe. And he also was instrumental. He turned me on to a local printer and got me a job as an illustrator for them. And so I did that for several years. And then once I graduated, hanging out like I was with, you know, my friends and everything, so I ended up being asked by a friend to, you know, invited by a friend to join the military.
Oh.
So I signed up for the Marines. And and the night that they were doing a party for me for my my going away, my art teacher came to the party because he was still a great friend of the family, and told me that I had a scholarship to go to college. I didn't even know anything about this at all, so I was like shocked, you know. But I had already enlisted into the military, and when I had gone to the colleges to view, to check them out and everything, I wasn't really impressed with the curriculums as far as what they were being taught. So I pretty much did all that stuff. You know, I really studied art when I was in school. So I ended up going to the military, did that for 10 years, got out. And while I was still in the military, however, I continued to practice my craft. I would do portraits for
10 years?
You
were in the military for 10 years?
Correct. Yes, I was in for 10 years. And I would do artwork. I would do portraits of my fellow Marines, their families, and stuff. And I would get commissions for various other things outside of the military community, because I was fortunate enough to have a lot of duty stations that were kind of like independent. So I wasn't in a super structured situation. I had some flexibility as far as being able to get out and about around the community. And my last duty station, which was in Maryland, I was hanging out a lot in the city of the various cities in Maryland as well as in DC, and did them with a lot of businesses, salons and so forth, would have the work on display, or you know, with some of the frame shops. I learned custom framing while I was there, dealing with those frame shops. And you know, I developed a relationship with fellow artist Pancho Brown at this time. Pancho had a studio in the city of Baltimore, and I would go by there and visit him and spend time in his studio. He would allow me to use it to work on some of my projects, and we built a good rapport, because it seems like we both were hustling hard in the city. And everyone, either they didn't know me, they knew him, or they knew both of us. That's how hard we were hustling in the city. You know, they was like, oh, you know, I run across somebody, oh yeah, I know Pancho, or the vice versa. So we kept hearing each other's names all the time, and we hooked up, and it was a beautiful relationship that we're still, you know, close friends to this very day.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get you and Pancho, do an interview with you and Pancho. I think that would be very interesting.
Right. Yeah. So after I got out of the military, I moved to Texas, and there I continued to hone my craft. And while I spent time in Maryland, I was doing business with the gallery there, and, in Randallstown, Maryland, and a promoter, actually not a publishing company, came through and they saw my work at this particular gallery, and they contacted me and propositioned me to do a project with them, which was going to be a serigraph. So, you know, in the realm of art reproduction, serigraphs is top tier. So that became my first national project that I did with them, and it went over so well. We sold out in a matter of weeks. So,
oh wow.
from that point on, it was like skyrocketing, all the way up. So
Mhm.
That's like pretty much the road that I took into
Mhm.
this present day, which is still out here trying to perfect my craft even more. And as it's interesting about this thing about this market is always evolving, constantly
Uh-huh.
evolving. And we have
That's
to constantly reinvent ourselves. You know this for a fact yourself.
Mhm.
So, and it seems to be a wonderful time to be an artist at the
Mhm.
same time it's a hard time to be an artist.
Right.
But truth be told, it's never been an easy time.
Mhm.
You just learn to adapt and move forward with the
So
situation.
you feel like artists have a keen sense of adaptability in a sense.
I think, yeah, I mean, well, they have to have it. If you don't, then I don't think you're going to rise very high in the ranks if you don't have a sense of adaptability, because
Mhm.
that's what you have to have. You got to be
Mhm.
able to figure out how to go build a way for yourself
Mhm.
and whichever direction you want to go. And the beautiful thing about what we do as artists is that there's no one way of being successful at doing this thing. It's as many different ways as to do this thing and be successful as it is the different styles that the artists have out here. So
Mhm.
you can't tell someone that no, you can't make it doing this or doing that, because if you got the drive, the connection to go out there and work at it, hey, you very well may be successful at it.
Right. So would you say that I know you got some really great information and support in your early years. How did going to the military um, shape you as far as an artist, as far as your art and an artist? Were you stationed somewhere? Where was there an influence? Is there an influence from that in your artwork? Would you say?
Oh, there's definitely an influence all through what I do as an artist. The beautiful thing about uh, my experience in the military, again, I had a lot of independent duty, and those duties took me to around the world to
Mhm.
cross train with other military forces. So I got to see, specifically in Africa and in South America and Brazil, all the
Mhm.
things that was going on as far as the use of color in
Mhm.
the in their communities, and that opened my eyes to the fact that we're connected as a people, um, as people of color. We're
Mhm.
connected on a very very deep level, and it made me understand the difference of uh, how we perceive the use of color as opposed to how the Europeans perceive the use of color. That was one of the most important lessons right there.
Mhm.
And so I started learning more about the psychology of art in that time in the military. And again, like I said, I was doing work the whole time I was there, whether I
Mhm.
was in a combat zone in Beirut, or if I was stateside in some place like Maryland.
Mhm.
And I did a lot of murals when I was in Beirut,
Oh,
and this is the
okay.
same time, right time when there was so much chaos going
Mhm.
on over there. I was the unit that was there before the unit that was killed, where there was an explosion that killed 200 some odd Marines.
Oh wow.
That unit had replaced us.
Mhm.
So when that tragedy happened, we were sent back over there.
Mhm.
And if I had been there at the time, more than likely I would have been killed, because where I was staying at was right under a stairwell which is all solid concrete.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got back over there, and when I was out doing my patrols, I was looking around, and the complex that was blown up, the foundation was still intact.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to see some of my murals that were still standing,
Oh, wow.
stood the blast. That was interesting.
Stood the test of time.
Yes, yes. And but the training and discipline and everything that goes along with being in the military definitely helped out as far as dealing with the aspects of the various business parts of being an artist.
Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, do you feel like, because your work has beautiful color. I mean, just your colors are just phenomenal. Do you, does your work project any type of, like, what are you aiming to say within your work? Is there like a message in your work, or not like a political view, but just what does your, what are you speaking through your work in a sense, or does your work have like a message or a hidden message within it?
Well, it really depends. It depends on what I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
Some pieces have more deep meanings or messages than others do.
Mm-hmm.
I teeter on the line of fine art and commercial art to a degree, because some part of it is about fine art, which uses pieces that have like deep meaning and messages to them, where the commercial side of it is producing artwork that appeals to the masses.
Mm-hmm.
It's commercial. So on my commercial work, that's just some really general stuff, that concepts like the piece behind me, which is it's a musical piece.
Mm-hmm.
And but so that's more on my commercial end. But when I'm doing a lot of my figurative work, the message that I'm trying to convey is, because the majority of my work is of women,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to convey serenity, power, calmness, wholeness, peacefulness, through the use of the color and how I'm portraying the subject.
Mm-hmm.
In my character work that I do, I'm known for a specific character, which is called the Universal Woman. And that character came to be from my travels in the military, actually. When I was traveling to all these different places, I was able to connect the dots on a lot of things on the as far as the human nature or human condition is. And things that I realized is that, okay, if I wanted to do something that's going to represent my people, but also appeal to other races as well,
Mm-hmm.
has to have a certain context to it or content in it. So while I was in Africa, I was studying the various wood carvings that I would see, different tribes, and came up with the character features that I use. I said, if you want to create something that everybody could identify with, it has to have those African features, because that's the cradle of mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, where they realize it or not, they identify with it. And then the second thing that I had to do was, okay, what colors am I going to use? So for her skin tone, I made her skin tone tannish.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, no matter what race you are, you identify, you're drawn to people that particular shade. And in the beginning, for years, my work really had represented a stained glass background.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because it represented the spiritual aspect of people. That was one part of it. The other part was that the work was heavy textured as well. So between the bright color background and the texture, knowing that our people, in my observation, as I travel, learned that we are very touchy, very feely people. So that's what we're drawn to, whether we realize it enough subconsciously, we're just drawn to that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some of the influences that I want to project in my artwork, or that I do project in my artwork.
Mm-hmm. So how have you been handling, like sometimes a lot of artists, their work is, it's political or dealing with social issues, and there's been some really interesting things popping up in the world today. Like your work, I find it's very colorful, and you're right. There's a lot of females in your work. So do you deal with some of the social issues that are going on in the world with your work, or do you find that you try to input some of that in your work in some way?
That's a good question. No, I don't deal with social issues in my artwork, and because that's not something that appeals to me. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm not socially conscious. Mm-hmm. It's just that I don't feel the need or the appeal to project that in my artwork. Mm-hmm. It's so funny you were bringing it up, because my high school art teacher, which I said we still communicate with each other, he has been trying to get me to expand what I've been doing as far as my portfolio and do some socially conscious artwork. Mm-hmm. But I very rarely will touch that subject. I mean, I've done a few pieces on that vein, but not enough to really say I have a body of work that deals with social conscious.
Mm-hmm. So you feel like you've done a little bit, but not necessarily getting in depth like a lot of other artists that really, really go into, especially with the whole COVID-19. One of the things I've been seeing, especially on Instagram, a lot of images with the face mask, children images with the face mask. A lot of artists have really gotten into doing more, a lot with the COVID-19 thing. So not so much into those kind of, how has that affected your artwork or the way you go about seeing the world as far as an artist? How has that affected what you do right now? Or do you feel like it's affected any of what you do right now?
Well, the way it affects my work is, remember I told you that I do a lot of commercial artwork. So how it affected me is in things like this.
Right. Yeah, I know. I have seen those. Yeah, those are nice. Those are nice.
Thank you. So it's stuff, creating stuff that's useful, that's practical and application but still has an art flair to it. That's part of what I enjoy doing as an artist. I do, excuse me, I do a whole line of furniture items, everything from tables to lamps, vases, a lot of functional work. So that's just part of the fun of it. One of the challenges for me as an artist that it keeps me up and excited about what I do. And people kid on occasion about how if something stands still long enough, I'll paint on it. Pretty much true.
I have noticed you do have a very large inventory of items. That's one of the things the first thing I noticed about you is that you have what was it? I think there was I don't know if it was coverings but the lamps, you had these really amazing lamps with artwork on them. And I thought I was like, how does he do that? Where do you get that? Where does he get that from? You just go and buy a lamp and paint on it, or you create the lamp, or, um, you know.
You know what? Again, this is now you talk about social consciousness and stuff. By any means necessary is how I go about doing my work and stuff. By any means necessary, you know, you learn to adapt. So yes, some stuff I'll actually go out and purchase. Some stuff I find in I did one lamp last year that was something I have found in someone's trash.
Oh,
Threw it
really?
away. I mean, it was a big lamp, and I was like, that would make a great piece of artwork. And so, you know, I took it home. I was out walking my dog. My dog took it home. We picked it up, both of us, and we dragged it home. And you know, it's set for several months, but eventually I painted something on it and put it to, you know, took it to market. But then, you know, again, I also have carpenters that I work with, or have worked with on producing various items like mirrors, pedestals, some of the sculptures that I do. So if I can't find it and have an idea for it, I'll find a way to have it done.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're out there repurposing and creating, which is kind of cool. That's, you know, people are always looking for the repurposed artwork. You know, I find that people are always looking for those kind of things. So tell me, who are some of your biggest influences? You know, those people that have influenced you in what you do.
Oh, there's so many.
Teachers. I know you had said some, you know, you were talking about your teachers and a few other things, but like as far as also even in the art world, would you say you had some influences from that?
Oh yeah, I think that, you know, as an artist, we look at the world through a certain lens, and we are like sponges. We absorb everything around us, and then we take it all in, and then in our creative mind, we regurgitate it into something that speaks to our voice as artists. So if I was just to say, you know, who influenced me, I have to say, really, if I'm going to keep it real and just keep it simplistic, anyone I come in contact with can be an influence to me, because I can take something away from that experience and be able to utilize it in something that I'm going to do. But on the same time, if you want to see some of the artists that have influenced me, there's an artist in Maryland named Joseph Holston, older cat that was one of the early influences of my work. I didn't meet him until much later in life, but I remember seeing his work in magazines, Ebony Jet magazines, and which was his reproductions. And I was like, wow, you know, I want to be able to do that. You know, I mean, literally, I wanted to be able to do the style that he was using, and I wanted to be able to get into the magazines like he did. And then I have a whole host of contemporaries that really influenced me. Paul Goodnight, Larry Pancho Brown, Charles Bibbs, Wack. You know, even though my work doesn't look anything like his work, there are still influences to me. So there's a whole host. Lyra Campbell, that I look to, and it's not always about their work, although I really appreciate their work. It can be their business and work ethics that appeal to me as well. You know, I would have mentioned you in that, but you know, I don't want your head to get any bigger, because if it did, then the screen is only so large, you know.
That's right, and I could take up the whole screen. No. You, I mean, you have been very influential in what I'm doing, and I'm grateful that I've got a chance to meet you. I mean, we met via telephone like how many years ago?
Yeah,
And have been talking and enjoying each other's creative side ever since. And so I'm just grateful to be able to be in your aura.
Thank you. You bring up something that's really important. I want to share, and particularly for some of my fellow artists out there. The artist community is very, very large, but at the same time, it's very, very small. And I want to just encourage artists to connect with other artists and let them become mentors to you, or just keeping in touch with people. Just let them know that, hey, I'm here. I'm an artist. I'm out here doing my thing, and I don't feel intimidated by what you do. And I don't think that there's competition between us, because like we're all individuals, we have our individual voice.
Right.
So where I may say something about a sunflower that might be a purple sunflower, as opposed to when you do the sunflower, it may be an orange sunflower. So we all bring our own individual voices to the table. So it's no need to feel like you're in competition with anyone. The best thing you could do for yourself as an artist is to connect with other artists, because you never know what kind of little tidbits they may be able to give you to help advance your agenda, your career. So I encourage that among all artists.
That is so true. I mean, I have learned so much from you and Pancho, just being, just hanging out, and we've just hung out on the phone. But I've learned so much, and not just that, but also watching you guys on Facebook, especially like right now, is watching all the Facebook lives, seeing what everybody's doing, especially with the shows you guys, the live shows you guys have been putting on. Those things have been very influential for me. Just being able to see those and hoping that definitely other artists, I mean, I put your website up, definitely check out LaShun Beal's website and like him on Instagram and Facebook, because he's doing so much. He and a lot of other artists are doing so much on Facebook that you can learn from, and you can kind of glean from, and then, like you said, just sharing what we do, because you just never know what might be beneficial for you, what might be helpful. So that right there for sure is a great. Thank you for sharing that, because I do think there's people out there that definitely needed to hear that. Definitely needed to hear that. So, what is how have you sort of developed your career over the years? I know you were saying that you've gone, one of the things that you did early on was seek out opportunities via the community shops and things like that. But as you progressed more into a professional artist, how did you go about sort of developing the career that you have today? How did you go about developing the LaShun Beal of today?
Okay. No, that is something that's constantly evolving. It changes through periods. And so what worked yesterday may not work today, or the same thing may work, but in a different way. And what I mean by that is, let's just take some current marketing things. And now I'm gonna veer off your question a little bit, but I'll get back to it. You mentioned about the Facebook Live and marketing, how Pancho and several other artists are marketing their work through Facebook Live. All right. That's our new community, Facebook Live. Circumstances have presented themselves to us that we no longer at this particular stage can go do any festivals, art shows because of social distancing. And because there's a virus out there and we're not going to be traveling, but there's virus out there, some of us just can't afford to. I would say none of us can afford to, because we can't afford to lose any more artists than we've already lost.
Right.
We need those creative voices.
Fine art shall be in a distant future.
Yeah. But that said, that venue is a perfect vehicle for artists to start trying to develop and being able to sell their artwork, continue to sell their artwork to the public in another way, a different kind of way. And if you have, if any artists out there interested in trying to do that, I highly recommend they check out either my Facebook page or visit Poncho's Facebook page. And Poncho also does webinars, seminars on how to develop that particular kind of marketing strategy. And it's a great thing. He works it really well. As a matter of fact, he's the one that turned me on to it, got me involved with it. So that said, as far as over the years, what I've done is so many different things that is unreal. We could be here all night and I could be telling you how the different ways I went approached trying to develop what I do. And but in a more simplistic statement, I'll say that it's a matter of keeping your eyes open, ears open, and looking for opportunities. You got to be out there in the game. If you want to succeed at it, you got to get exposure. So you got to figure out, how can I get exposure any way that I can, get my work to the public, get my work in front of the public. Because if your goal is to sell artwork, and let me clarify something, that's what works for me. So I'm telling you my perspective. There's a lot of artists don't go this route and they're very successful at what they're doing. But for me, this is my approach to it, is to get out there, expose myself to as much as I possibly can, and as many people as I possibly can, without burning myself out. I got to be very mindful of the things that I pursue, because you can find yourself on a merry-go-round or being like a hamster, and just in a rat race, try to do so much and not accomplishing anything at all. So you gotta be very strategic in how you're applying yourself. I hope that answers that question for you.
No, it does. So do you feel like, because that, like, one of the things, the things that I see between you and as well as Poncho is, do you feel that having that commercial background, because I know a lot of like what would be considered fine art artists, having that commercial background, it seems like you have more of a charge forward, get it done. I'm going to get my work out there. I'm going to, not waiting for it to come to me. I'm going to it. Do you think that has something to do with the fact that you do have that that you also have that commercial background as well? Do you feel like that also is a part of why you have so much drive? Because I noticed the same thing that in Poncho and some other artists that are also commercial artists, that drive is it just seems like it's a little different.
It is, and yes, that plays a really important part of it. And reason being is that unlike, I'll tell you someone that they're already married. I told you about Joseph Holston. Holston considered a fine artist, very, very fine artist. And I look at his career, his route that he's gone, and he mainly shows his work at universities and museums. He's very laid back. Now,
Mhm.
that said, when I met Joseph, he was doing a show at Jacob Javis, uh,
Mhm.
the Art Expo in Jacob Javis, which
Right.
in itself is probably considered more of a commercial kind of venue,
Right.
because you're selling, you're putting
It's a
yourself out there to the masses. You're looking for galleries and you're looking for art collectors to come by and purchase what you're doing.
mhm.
Uh, but our attitude as, if you will, commercial type artists is that, uh, we go get it. We have no choice. We don't wait for someone to tell us what to do. You
Mhm.
know, we define that. You know, because we didn't have a roadmap coming up. There was no roadmap for how we should proceed in going for these things. Matter of fact, we probably heard more stuff that was negative than positive as we was coming up. But what we did was take that negative and let
Mhm.
that charge us to go forward, as opposed to let it kill us, die us, and make us stall out. Uh,
Mm.
so that's probably the big thing take away from it. Unlike academic artists, that they stick to a certain format. You're trying to elevate your work to a level where you're just wanting museums to excuse me, museums and universities to carry your work, do displays, do exhibitions.
Mhm.
That's your whole thing. Is what exhibition am I getting into next?
Mm.
You'll spend months writing out grant proposals and stuff to get money for this project or that project. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just reiterating that there's so many different routes you can take in this field to in pursuing your goals. You just got to know which way you want to go. And that's the
Mhm.
most important thing, is knowing which way you want to go. Um, but yeah, so for us though, there's always some new challenge that presents itself to us, and we have to figure out how to deal with that, to overcome it. Well, whether it's we had a golden age of art where we had literally all we had to do was open up our doors and sell our artwork.
Mhm.
Um, we had that period in time. It eventually dried up. We
Mhm.
went to the period of George Bush and how that affected our market. It tanked it. Most of the galleries all closed. So we
Uh-huh.
had to figure out, okay, how we're going to bounce back from this, because a lot of us, majority of us, was really set up to deal with publishers, distributors, and galleries. There was
Mhm.
there was a certain way you're supposed to have gone about doing this thing, and that hurt a lot of us in the long run, because we didn't depend on our individual um, sales and dealing with our individual customers,
Mhm.
and we had to bounce back from that, figure out ways to get beyond a point, and not having those particular venues to sell our artwork, and we did. And
Mhm.
then we bounced back like that, get things going again. Next thing you know, we have COVID-19. So now, we're in a position like, okay, we really can't go sell no work now, because not only that all the venues are closed, we can't even travel if you really wanted to. So
Right.
what do we do now? So there's always a new problem or situation that presents itself that we have to overcome, or modify, what we're doing to be still continue to thrive and be successful. I say this is still one of the best times ever for African American artists, or artists in general. I would consider this to be our new renaissance,
Mhm.
because what social media has done, and technology has given us opportunities that did not exist, or better yet, weren't being utilized by us in the way it's been utilized now, which is it's a beautiful thing. So for those that have realized that and taken advantage of it, They're still prosperous times. They're doing well, you know, seemingly well. So that's some of the things. That's why there's the big difference between you want to see your fine artists and your almost commercial artists, because we look at a situation and say, hey, we got to figure it out. We don't wait for the establishment to do, you know, to tell us what to do.
Right.
Or better yet, control us, control our outcomes.
And I guess that kind of leads me into my next question, as far as how has being an African American Black person influence or affect your artwork?
I don't even know if that's even a question right there. Come on now. I'm blackity black, blackity black, black. I'm so black, I'm blackity black to that blackity black.
I literally had someone come in my booth and ask me if I sold Black art. So I guess in a sense, it's like within the world of art, how would you say, I mean, as far as being a Black artist or just an artist, because I see you as an artist. I mean, it's clear that you're Black. It doesn't, but how has that, do you feel like how has that been for you as an artist? How the, you know, coming up in the art world, in a sense?
Well, being an artist in itself is a challenging thing when you want to present your work to the public, because your artwork, you know, is very personal to you. And so when you get some kind of feedback and it's negative, you know, that's a sensitive, you know, area for you. When you get the feedback that it's positive, that's a sensitive area for you. Again, I don't look at it so much as a race, even though I know race plays a part in it. And there's, you know, there's some things, venues that I wouldn't even consider going into because I don't think it's for me. But that's the part of being a business person. You know, you got to realize who you're targeting, who you're going after. You know, it's your market. What market are you going for? And whether that be, and there's a lot of African American artists that all they sell to is Caucasians. That's all they sell to. So the question comes, okay, who are you trying to market to? Right. So it's not so much the fact of being a Black artist and having to deal with the woes of being that, but understanding what your market is, who you're marketing to, you know. Right. And even that, you know, that's constantly evolving, because the more, for me, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, that's constantly evolving, because the more people that you come in contact with, you find yourself gravitating to different arenas, different type of people, which is a beautiful thing, because at the end of the day, you know, I'm selling art, and either you like my message or you don't like my message. You like my representation, you don't like my representation. I can't get overly concerned either way, other than the point that, you know, who I'm trying to cater to. You know, those are the people that I listen to. That's what I'm looking at, and I think that's what, you know, artists have to, you know, bear in mind. You know, it's business. It's business. It's just business. So, you know, as a business, you got to figure out who you're trying to sell to. You know, right. If that is your goal. Your goal is to sell art. You know, your goal may be different. My goal is to sell art. So I'm looking at it from that perspective.
Right. Right. So we'll follow. This will be our last question. And then we're going to see if people want to ask some questions. Somebody did ask a question in here, so I'll bring that question up. How do you distinguish yourself as far as from other artists, like LaShun Beal? How do you go about, what makes LaShun Beal different from the rest?
I don't know what makes LaShun Beal different from anyone else. I can tell you what makes LaShun Beal different.
Let me do this again. Let me try it again. Let me start over. Cut. Everybody cut out. Here we go. What? How do you distinguish yourself from other artists as LaShun Beal?
Well, you know what? It's not that hard to do. Because again, like I said, every artist has his own voice. So my voice is not going to be the same as, your voice.
Right.
Or, any other artist's voice. Like I said, we can take the same subject matter and our interpretation of it would be totally different. Could be totally different, or it could be totally the same.
Right.
And it just happened that way. It wasn't that we were like trying to, copy one another. That's just how we interpreted that particular thing. So I don't necessarily go out constantly say, okay, how can I make myself different than anybody else? My whole thought process is how can I express myself, as an artist, and the rest will take care of itself. So, but that said, how am I distinguished from some of my colleagues is my use of color. That's what I'm known for, basically, my use of color. You can pretty much look at one of my paintings and say, okay, that's his work. So, and that's, that's what's called having your thumbprint. People can look at your work and say automatically, that's your work. You can look at Poncho's work and say, hey, that's Poncho's work. You can look at Paul Goodnight work, and you can keep looking at his work because it's so bad. I mean, it isn't good. As Paul Goodnight did that. Same with, Charles Bibbs, Gilbert Young, a whole host of artists. They work their craft to the point that their work is distinctive just by looking at it. That doesn't just, it's not something that I believe you can force. That develops. Develops as you continue to, pursue your craft and you hone in on your skills with using whatever, mediums and techniques that you're doing. That develops. It develops. I remember when I was about to get out of the military, I went to a publisher and I showed him my portfolio, and he told me that, said, yeah, well, your work is nice, but you don't have a thumbprint. And I was like, what do you mean? I've been paying I've been paying close to 20 years. I ain't got no thumbprint. What are you talking about? I'm sold all over the place. I was like, okay, now you can take that and just let that like totally destroy you, or you can take it, constructive criticism and ponder it and figure out what does that all mean.
Thumbprint, right?
And he did have a point. I could do techniques, I can do different styles, I can emulate, different artists and things of that nature, but I wasn't representing my own voice.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't until probably 3 years after that conversation, maybe a little less than that, but about 3 years after that conversation, it dawned on me that I had my own voice. I had developed my work while I first got here to Texas, was developed to a point. I had a good mentor here, artist by the name of Burford Evans, who made me understand color and different techniques better. And I started applying those things, and my voice was developed. My thumbprint came out of that. But it was nothing that I could have done on my own other than constantly painting to make that a reality. I couldn't force and say, okay, I'm gonna wake up today, I'm gonna get a thumbprint today. You know, it don't work that way, folks. So
You
give
didn't
it up. Go
print that.
ahead. You gotta put the work in. You gotta put, and trust me, I had put a lot of work in up to that point. A lot of work. So, but yeah, that answers that question.
Mhm. So, here's one I don't. How do you go about? Because I know you have a nice selection of collectors, and this is for probably like a young artist or something like that, or somebody's out there. How do you go about cultivating that, like your collector base, a collector's base, in a sense?
How do I go about what?
Cultivating that, like your collector How base, do you go collector's about base? Yeah.
I'm sorry, you weren't coming in clear.
Yeah, I know, because there was something else came out. How do you go about, in a sense, like cultivating a collector's base? Do you purposely go out in search of, or is it mostly gathering when you do shows or things like that, from exhibits? Is that how you, and then also, how do you keep that collector's base, via email, constant communication? How do you go about doing that?
Well, that's a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's by I would say tell artists this: start where you at, where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
You have people in your circle, and if you don't, then you need to change your circle. You should have people in your circle that may be interested in purchasing your artwork.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I tell artists that. In fact, I was on the phone yesterday talking to one. You know, don't take this personal. It's business, and you know, let the art go. You know, archive it, get a digital file made of it, and let it go, because the whole point of it all is to be able to sell your work, create, help to boost your morale, and to give you some money to continue to buy supplies so you can continue to create. You know, some artists just want to just hold on to their work till the cows come home.
I know.
And if that's what you want to do, I'm not knocking it. Again, like I said, there's so many different ways of going about this.
I've outgrown that.
Huh?
I said I've outgrown that feeling. But
okay, yeah. But at the end of the day, it's that. So to cultivate an audience, there's a lot of different things you can do. But if you're a young artist right now, you got the advent of social media, and you can use that, Facebook, Instagram, all the different kind of social media platforms that's out there to develop an audience for your artwork. It's just a matter of understanding how you want to go about marketing it to them and making them respond to what you're posting. So you may want to pose stuff as in a question, something, a call to action. Basically what it is what you're wanting to do is to have a call to action. Pose a question to someone or do something that makes that viewer have to respond to you. And that's how you start hooking people on to what you're doing. And then from that point, you gather that data, you put it in a database, a folder, and you create files for those particular clients that you can constantly reach out to them in the future. Let them know when you got something new coming up, whether you're going to text it to them, email it, or send it to them in social media. Do the same thing in all sorts of formats. You could do the same thing, that same concept in your text messages. You could text your customers and let them know what's new. This is what's hot. This is what's new. Give me your feedback. Or you can ask some more in-depth questions like, what do you think I should be painting? What would you like? Or better yet, no, not what do you think I should painting, but what would you like to see me paint?
Mm.
Because remember, you're trying to pull them in and buy from you. You want to know what it is that they really want to see. You know, and that may be something like, okay, yeah, I can see doing that. Let me go ahead and knock out that, and then I could send it out to them and let them see it. Hey, what do you think?
Right.
You know, they may go for it, they may not, but you may have somebody else that you're in touch with that would may be interested in getting it. But the thing about it is you got to be proactive in your pursuit of your clients. There's always, you know, going out and doing different, you know, festivals, art shows. Those are good ways to build up your clientele base. You gather their information. You don't let people get your business card. The first thing that you want to do is get their information.
Right.
Get their email address. You know, get their phone number. Get their address. Because remember, you're trying to sell to them. They're not trying to sell to you.
Right.
What the hell do they need your business card for? Do you think they're really going to go to your website? If you have a website, do you think they're going to call you after the show? When the average person that goes to an event or not show or festival, they walk around, they collect a bag full of cards. They'll walk out the end of that show with probably 50 business cards, postcards, etc. And probably 90% of that will be thrown out, never to be used. So you gotta understand, you gotta understand your customer base. You gotta understand how they operate. You know, if you're gonna you know develop them and as customers, or continue to develop them over a long period of times, because you gotta understand that, okay, I can't be doing presenting a painting that's like 6 feet by 6 feet to a customer that's interested in buying my work, and they'll only have room for a piece that's 3 inches by 3 inches. So it defeats the purpose. Where are they going to put that 6-foot painting at? You know, they're going to use it for a roof. You know, so you got to be able to cater to your customer base. You got to be able to cater to them. So you got to understand them. You got to ask some questions. You know, don't feel empowered, feel emboldened. Ask the questions, because that's how you're going to know what you need to be doing in order to appease those customers.
Okay, so were you finished? Oh, I didn't want to interrupt you. So we'll open it up. It's 7. We'll open it up to some questions. So if you guys have some questions, those of you who are out here that's making comments, if you have some questions, I do have a question here from, there it is. It's like, I got to click on it. It is from Valerie. She wanted to know if can you see the question?
Yes, I can see it. Hey, Valerie. Yes, I sell my artwork on Facebook the same way Pancho does. As a matter of fact, all you have to do is go to my news feed and search to see the videos.
She also wanted to know
what day, right. So I'm about to develop one that I think it's going to be airing on a Wednesday. Don't hold me hold me to that. What you want to do is go ahead and friend me on Facebook, or follow me on my business page, which is LaShun Beal Fine Art, or just go to LaShun Beal and friend me there, and then I'll be posting when the next one's going to be, and I believe it's going to be Wednesday, and it'll be approximately 7 o'clock Eastern time. So that'll be the next one. But you can always go back and look at the video after the fact, or check out the watch parties, and you can purchase then. You can go to the old videos right now and just leave a comment if there's anything that interests you.
So we are interviewing live with LaShun Beal. With LaShun Beal. I keep getting it wrong, but I mean, get it right all the time. Interviewing live. If you have questions, let me know. Oh, Valerie was not happy with that whole Wednesday. Here she goes. No.
Well, again, Valerie, you don't have to wait till, you can do it after it airs. You don't have to buy it when it airs.
Right.
You can still do it after it airs. It's not that serious.
Well, don't you? You do watch parties. You do re-air it on a watch party as well.
Correct.
So, yes, I've been posting those, Valerie. Look at Val. Now she's where is Valerie? It's okay you can catch the recaps. That's what. So that's right. You can catch the recaps. Is yours is called House Party? Is that what yours is? Or
no, In the Studio. Mine is called In the Studio.
So his is called In the Studio
with LaShun Beal.
I should have had that. I should have had that up. The In the Studio with LaShun Bibbs. So his is called In the Studio with LaShun Bibbs, and it's probably going to be on a Wednesday, he said, but don't quote him on that. He's still figuring.
Yeah, it'll be posted. It'll be posted beforehand. Matter of fact, there'll be a post going out tomorrow.
Right.
Advertising.
You definitely want to follow him. Follow him on Facebook. Follow him on Instagram. LaShun will be coming to Fort Collins. We're hoping in September with all the COVID for the Beauty of Blackness Fine Art Show. If you guys are not have not liked the page, go ahead and like that Beauty of Blackness Fine Art Show page so that you can keep up with all of the latest things that are going on. I'm hoping I'll be posting some of their watch parties. I'm hoping to do some watch parties with some of their shows on those, to do some recaps on that. So definitely like the Beauty of Blackness Facebook page. Go to LaShun Beal's website at www.lashunbeal.com. Like him on Instagram and Facebook. He would love to have you guys. I will host him as soon as, somebody's going to host you as soon as the quarantine is over. Who is this young lady? She's hosting you. There it is. Carmen.
Oh, Carmen. Yeah, that's my girl. Yeah, I go up to Maryland and do a show with her, show with her. That's nice. My sweetheart.
I got you. All right, Carmen, you like Beauty of Blackness Fine Art Show. Yvette's getting in on that too.
Yeah, Yvette.
They're getting in on it too. So thank you guys for tuning in and being a part of that, being a part of the interview. Definitely check us out. We're going to have another interview next Saturday. We'll be interviewing another artist, another one of our Beauty of Blackness Fine Art Show artists. So definitely check us out next week. We'd love to have all of you guys come back and say,
yeah. This was great. This was great. Now tell them how can they see the old ones, the other interviews, the previous ones.
If you go on the Beauty of Blackness Fine Art Show page, if you missed the one with Poncho, that one for sure will be on there. So you'll be able to see all of the old interviews if you are on the Beauty of Blackness Fine Art page. Like it, follow it, and you can catch all the old interviews. LaShun's actually will be on YouTube as well, on the Beauty of Blackness Fine Art YouTube page. Unfortunately, Poncho didn't get that privilege because I didn't have it up and running at the time. So you're special, LaShun. I always know that. You can always
I know that.
You could tell Poncho I'm way more special.
He already knows.
So I want to thank everybody for tuning in and being a part of this. We're going to go ahead and end the broadcast and sign off. Do you have any last parting words, LaShun?
Hey, I just want to say thank you for all the support to my fan base out there. Appreciate it over the years. Continue to keep an eye out. I'll continue to try to bring you some new things, innovative things. And I just want to say, be safe. Be safe out here, okay? Because this is real. This is really happening. All right, and everyone just have a blessed evening.
There we go. Ending broadcast. Bye.
Hi, everyone.